There is no such thing as Earth curvature. It only exists in the mind, okay? That's why you only see curvature on your TV screens. And add Google with it too. You've been indoctrinated since birth on a crib with a solar system decor on your bed. Because in reality, our GPS, it's our very own ground positioning system, which means every position is determined from the intervals between signals of any pulses received on a distance in any transmitters. Curvature, huh? And you would tell me, oh, boats, when far away, look like sinking to the curvature of the Earth. But what about aircraft, power lines, traffic lights, and even with our local sun, are all not moving downwards. They are all moving away, as any object from a distance would really look like they are sinking, but it doesn't, because we have what we call distance vanishing point. I mean, you can try it with any objects at home by sliding it forward and back on a flat, level surface, if that makes sense. And you will see that in every distances, there is always a vanishing point. Like on a plane, have you seen a plane window? Those windows has many layers. A glass pane with heating element, vinyl layer, and another glass pane. There are differences between cockpit window and the passenger windows in any cabin. The cabin windows are made out of acrylic and always has two layers, the inner and outer shutter, including the middle, and with own inner panes. And yes, there are reports that some passengers can see a slight curvature, and that because of the passenger windows. If the glass window on the exterior part, especially when it's curved, it will definitely distort the view from the inside. When on flight, you can actually see a local sun by its divergent sun rays. It's like more on a hotspot, indicating a smaller localized light source. I mean, you will never see a sun rays on this model. Not on clouds and not on water. The sun rays from the beach and the clouds works perfectly fine with this geocentric model. I mean, by this picture, does the source of light is 93 million miles away? Like, does it look like the sun is 109 wide more than the Earth? I mean, just think, there is no need to flatten the curve because it's already flat. Sundials, cold sundial, and not Earth dials, because our local sun moves and not the Earth. And this is the real form of Mars on any great telescope you can have. So luminous. Yet this is the helipad paper of NASA, landing on Mars. Like seriously? The founder of NASA, Von Braun, on his deathbed block, imprinted a Psalm verse 1901. On a Psalm verse 19:1 explains exactly that heavens declare the glory of God with its firmament. These are luminous plasmas, the helium, neon, the argon, the krypton, and the xenon. Our sky atmospheres are full of this. That's including the aurora borealis. This is the happiness, the face when celebrating graduations, celebrations, birthdays, baby showers, and so on. And this is a face of depression because there's nothing to celebrate. On finding an alien outspace, I just want you to pay attention to details. Because the more you pay attention and give time just to really think about it, the more absurd and diabolic it becomes. If your computer gaming setup is too slow, just remember, NASA landed on the moon using only 4 KB of RAM. Magic, sorcery. NASA has its own balloon program office for older satellite devices. I mean, what satellite out space are you talking about exactly?
Airplanes debunk the globe. Airplanes maintain rigidity in space using something called a 3-axis gimbaled gyroscope. Now remember, the gyroscope maintains inertia not dependent on the Earth's orientation, but its own position in space. So as the rotor in the center spins, it maintains its own inertial reference frame. Notice, before the rotor is spinning, you're spinning around and it's spinning with you. But as soon as you gear this up and get it working in its inertial reference frame, all of a sudden now you are spinning around it. On this 3-axis gimbal, it allows that to maintain rigidity in space, staying exactly where it was when it began spinning. The only way that it can move is when a force acts upon it. Now, in this 3-point gimbal, it's going to maintain that exact location, that exact inertial reference frame. As he's driving the car, you see how he's driving around it. It's going to stay in that same rigidity in space. Now, for those of you who believe he's really in space, they actually got the physics right here. See how it's just flipping all around the gyroscope, but as soon as he gears it up and gets that rotor moving, now it's maintaining its rigidity in space as he moves it around. Now, I believe it's augmented reality because they say this is how they keep the ISS in orientation. But when you watch time-lapse ISS footage, if that were the case, then it would look nothing like this. The Earth would be behind you, then in front of you. Remember, pilots use this technology and don't have to account for curvature. They always maintain rigidity in space, showing that artificial horizon staying the same, using that same gimbal. Now look at this. Look at the orientation when you switch your reference frame. That plane is nose directly up into space. To really drive home this rigidity in space thing, if the Earth were a ball that was spinning daily, then you could get this thing going mechanically, and as long as it was still going, in 24 hours, this would do a 360-degree rotation. Does that happen? No.
Eric, why do we fly with a positive attitude over long durations of flight? Why do we fly with a positive attitude?
Why do we fly with, like, why am I happy as I'm going across? I love flying. I would always have a positive attitude.
In the attitude indicator. We fly with relatively about a 3-degree positive attitude.
That is correct. Right. Because you want your angle of attack to always be giving you some extra lift so that you can go. So you always.
Okay, so we fly like the Earth's flat.
Of course. I talked about that earlier. I talked about, like I said, when I'm coming in to land 10 miles away, I'm always going to, like, the fact that we have that such minor curvature, it just doesn't matter.
So you would agree, just one more time, it really gets me.
Listen,
we do
as a
fly
pilot,
planes like the Earth is flat. Right?
As a pilot, there are times when I can use a flat Earth model. Absolutely.
Anything else? Anything else, man? There's no scientific evidence for it.
I would just
Okay. You can either talk about the two claimed pieces of evidence for it, are the observation of 1919, but done by Arthur Eddington, in which we don't have any of the photographic plates to reference if they were even close to the claims of general relativity. So that's not a good one. And then we also have LIGO, which is not a good one, which assumes the existence of atoms and atomism, as well as they inject data, admittedly, and don't tell their scientists. Probably not a very reliable source. Do you have any of the specifics on either of those?
I mean, all you're saying really is you're just talking about the Mach principle to Einstein.
No, I'm not talking about that anymore. I just gave you your claimed evidence for relativity, and I told you why I don't believe it. I didn't even have to give it. I could have sat here and said, do you have any evidence for relativity? And you would have nothing, and then we could have stopped there, and I would have won. But I actually went as far as to tell you and steelman your position and give you the best evidence that they possibly have and tell you what's wrong with it.
All right, understood.
Of traffic into major airports. And one of them that I thought was weird when I first encountered it, and I thought, man, this is so crazy, would be airplanes that would depart like Atlanta, because that's a huge airport. So if you're going to like China, somewhere over towards Beijing, anywhere that direction, airplanes would depart headed north out of Atlanta.
How far? Wait, what's the point? Can we make it simple? Can we make it really simple? What's the point here?
Yeah. So airplanes that you would typically think that an airplane would go west or east to get to China, but instead they go due north direction. They go due north, and you could watch their flight.
Okay, Atlanta. Hold on. Watch this. Hold on. Atlanta, Georgia. China, north. That'd be north. Yeah.
The north
be the shortest path, buddy.
What if I'm right? What if I didn't just wake up one day and decide it'd be really funny to just tell people it was flat, even though it isn't? What if it's actually flat, and I'm trying to tell the truth to you and stop the lies that we've been taught since we were children? I mean, you believed in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, right? Probably. But the difference is you didn't have that shoved down your throat when you went to school. You eventually figured out it wasn't real. So they came along and they said, hey kiddos, the Easter Bunny's real, Santa Claus is real, and this is where you live. Right there on this ball. And you got to school and they kept shoving it down your throat in science class. They had the globe sitting over there on the desk and it looked really cool. Everyone wants a globe. Looks awesome. And then you watch your kids' shows, and at least one episode of any random kids show would be an episode where they go to space. and you find out there's adults that are scientists. They're all really smart people. They're writing these chalkboard mathematics about this ball that we live on, right? You can't understand the chalkboard mathematics, most likely, but they didn't shove Santa Claus down your throat when you went to school. They didn't write Santa Claus's flight paths on a chalkboard and say this is how that works, and these are the reasons why it works. Here's some photos of Santa Claus that we have to prove that Santa Claus is real. So here, look at these photos of Santa Claus. Now, I can get a picture of Superman, but it doesn't mean I know him. Go use an Earth curvature calculator and go and make some observations and go and see if the things you see in the distance line up with what you should see on the ball that they claim. Use the calculator, and it will tell you how much curvature should be in the way of the object you're currently seeing. And when you realize that you're still seeing that object even though you shouldn't be able to, that should click for you right there. That maybe it's not what they say it is, and maybe it could be what I'm saying it is. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.
No, 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 no.
The Earth is a sphere in the geocentric model. What? Who the hell told you that? Let's read this from a physicist. I could construct a spherically symmetrical universe with the Earth at the center, and you cannot disprove it based on observation. You can only exclude it on philosophical grounds. In my view, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. What I want to bring out into the open is the fact that we are using a philosophical criteria in choosing our model. A lot of cosmology tries to hide that. So we cannot disprove that we are the center of the universe. Check. But we look up and it looks all spherical, so I would assume we're on a sphere. But when I look at the Earth, it's flat. Are you starting to get a free-thinking mind? God created the heavens and the Earth, and I see the Earth flat.
So a lot of people are having trouble with the moon and understanding that it is its own light source. It does not reflect sunlight. That's the moon. If the moon was reflecting sunlight, right, I'm here, the moon's in front of me, obviously as the photo was taken, meaning the sun has to be behind this person. Where's the light in the sky far above, around, and below the moon? Where is the light that's hitting this sun? Do you think somehow the sun during the day just lights up the entire sky, but then at night the light is funneled into an X-ray vision laser tunnel and it hits the moon? It doesn't make any sense. Look around. This is clearly not reflecting sunlight, or the sunlight that reaches 93 million miles away. It would be everywhere. It would not just be localized. Not to mention through actual scientific method experiments and demonstratable, repeatable, observable science, we can prove that the moon produces moonlight that is colder than moon shade, meaning that the light source could not be something warmer than the light source, meaning it's not the sun. The moon emits its own light. I don't understand, not to mention the inverse square law of light, just proving that there's no way that this light would be hitting there, refracting, coming. There's a lot of different ways to scientifically prove, or we could just look at this photo and understand that, there's no sunlight, or it would be daytime. If there was sunlight, it would be sometime, meaning it would be daytime. Or the moon just emits its own light, a lesser light, to rule the night. I'm not sure. I don't know.
You're flying flat, level. The flight was in the daytime from what I can understand. So for the record, if I'm flying along at 41,000 feet, as these pilots were, usually you're going to have a pretty clear sight of the horizon. But if all your instruments went completely black, assuming that your engines were still running, there's no reason ever to nose the plane over. You're flying flat, level. The flight was in the daytime from... You're flying flat, level. You're flying flat, level. For the record, if I'm flying along at 41,000 feet, as these pilots were, usually you're going to have a pretty clear sight of the horizon. And if you're flying flat, level, the flight...
there's no reason ever to nose the plane over. You're flying flat, level.
I was reading a lot of stuff on the flat Earth.
Okay, yeah. True.
That's true?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, cool. All right, God bless.
How long have you been flying for?
But 21 years, but maybe like 30 something.
I want to know, because they say the pilots know a lot. Do you think the Earth is flat or?
I know it's flat.
You know it's flat?
Did you notice any curvature while we were up there?
No.
No? What did you see while we were up there?
This is the blue sky, white clouds.
Yeah, is it flat or?
Pretty flat.
Pretty flat?
Yeah.
Alright, thank you.
Brother.
Did you notice any curvature while we were up there?
Curvature? No.
No? There's no curvature?
It's all flat.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I've been flying, and I've come to the conclusion there's no curvature. I never allow for curvature. There's no way with curvature. We're round and flat, aren't we?
Yes.
We are, aren't we?
Flat as
Thank
pancake,
you.
right? Flat as pancake.
It came in the mail and y'all are opening it with me. Ooh. Smell it. Woo! Here we go.
The Flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.